Hello, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and launch my YouTube on my laptop to make sure picture looks good and everything, and they'll be good to go. Make sure my volume is down here. There we go. All right. How's everybody doing today? I'm here by myself while Brady is in Reno for Gamma, representing Blacklist. I got out of it, so I'm here proofing Alter Quest proofs. I'm going to show some of that stuff to you today. I'm going to give people a minute to show up. This will be saved on our YouTube channel, so anybody can come watch it later. But just give people a chance to make it in, find the video, and ask any questions they have about Alter Quest and anything else Blacklist related. Looks like Scotty's here. Hey, everybody. All right. Now, the unfortunate thing is I was hoping to have everything from the printed proofs to show today, but I got some stuff yesterday, but unfortunately none of those were cards. Those still might be coming later this week from the factory, I'm not sure, but the good news is I will do another live stream to show off the rest of the stuff that didn't show up yesterday. So I do have things like dice. I have some boards, some rules to show off. Pretty much most things except for dice, except for cards, and the final color miniature samples will be coming later. I still have the last set of samples. If anybody wants to see anything specific, I can show you. But we show off a lot of pictures of those in previous updates, so a lot of that's out there for you to see already. Hey, Frank. All right. I'm going to share this over to my personal social media so people know we're here. Okay. About that. I don't know why my phone. I turned on Do Not Disturb and it's not working. Please stop calling. I'm doing a video. That was Brady trying to call me, so hopefully that's back running. Okay. Everybody good? I don't know why I turned off Do Not Disturb my phone. I'm not sure why it's letting calls come through. It's really weird. I'll have to look at that setting later. But hopefully, I don't think anybody else is going to call me besides Brady. He calls me all the time, talk about game stuff. So, hey Ryan. Hey Keith. Hey Dr. Bandage. Hey everybody. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's having a good Tuesday so far. And we're here to chat Alter Quest and look at some of the proofs we got from the factory. Now, these aren't final. These are them sending us some test prints to make sure things are laid out properly, that they're using the right files. Which good thing I caught they used an old file for the rulebook, which is the file that we shared in an update a couple months ago, I believe. It was just kind of an early draft. We were still editing it, and they printed off a copy of that rulebook using that file, and I've already made a note of it saying they need to use an updated file where we caught some of those typos, where some of you backers pointed out some typos, which is very helpful. Thank you. But yeah, this is kind of just showing off how it'll look in print and the quality of the paper and everything. So the layout's looking good. I'm just kind of going to review this for pretty much material because the text obviously needs to be updated with the new file. So hopefully they'll send us a new updated print version of that. But this is the rulebook for the base game. It is 28 pages. You've guys have all seen this, so nothing really new and exciting, but that is what it'll look like when we get it. The other cool thing is the base game will come with one of these. This is the story guide from Ruins of Arkenspire. The base game one will, out of curiosity, does anybody is the quality look bad to anybody else? It's looking kind of bad to me, but I'm not sure that's because of my internet, but let me know if the quality is really bad. Looks good to you, Scotty? Okay, cool. I'll just reload my YouTube and make sure that, there we go. That's much better. So yeah, just blame Brady. He messed everything up. Yeah, I will be sure to check out the comments for questions. So yeah, Brady's in here. Everybody tell Brady thanks for messing up my call here. My video. Okay. So this right here is an example of a story guide. This is the story guide that is in Ruins of Arkenspire expansion. The base game one looks very similar, but it'll say, Out of Luxon story guide. Just to give you an idea of I'm not going to show you, obviously read this stuff to you because it would be a spoiler, but there's quite a bit of text in these books. So if you're playing through the story, you play these through chapter by chapter. The call-out boxes here, you see, these are pretty much game-related rules. This will tell you what to do between, like as you're reading things, it might tell you to make choices, and maybe you have to go find a story card. Kind of is an effect of one of the choices you made in the story. But there's a lot of story to read through, and in the very back you will see the story appendix. And this is, anybody who's familiar with Choose Your Own Adventure books from the 80s, a lot of times the story will tell you to go look at entry 004, and they'll give you a little story based on the decision you made in the chapter. So that's kind of how these work, and they are very instructional. Like, you don't need to do any kind of prep with story cards. These will tell you exactly what story cards you need at what point, so you can just start, set up your game and then just start playing right away if you want to play story mode. So that's how these work, and obviously there's tons of text, tons of stuff to spoil, but there's also, really cool art spreads showing off some of the characters you'll run into in the game. So looking pretty good. Very excited for people to dive into these. We had Brian Steele help out with the writing on this. Brady had a good outline to start from, how we wanted the story to go. But while Brady and I wanted to focus more on the gameplay, we wanted to hire somebody to focus on just writing up these books. And so Brian did a great job doing that for us for both the Out of Luxon and the Ruins of Arkenspire. Yeah, thanks, Brady. So if you guys have any questions while I'm going through this, feel free to ask them in the chat. I will address them. I will show things closer if you want, but I will not show things that, if somebody wants to see something close up in this, for example, I'm not going to show you because I don't want to spoil it for everybody else. So I will not comply with that request. But yeah, if you want to see art like that, sure. This is the rule sheet you will find in the stretch goal box. Very basic. This just kind of gives you a contents list, which we've had in the past, people asking, if they had everything in their stretch goal box, if they were missing anything. This is something we put in this so people can clearly see exactly what to expect. I believe we did this in Aftershock, so that's kind of taken from there. We wanted to make sure people had a component list of what to expect in the stretch goal box. So there's a game board, there's 5 colored altar dice, which I will show those off in a minute here. There's 135 miniatures, it's a lot. There's 417 cards, 18 card dividers, and 4 plastic base rings. So that's what you will find in the expansion stretch goal box. And there's just the credits and a cool piece of Vivian, one of the stretch goal characters that were unlocked in the campaign. I do not have the boxes to show off because those went to Gamma. We need to show those off at the booth at Gamma. However, I did get the sample of the first 4, which was an add-on in the Kickstarter. This lets you play as the 4 legendary characters from the history of Vertica. There's a little story in the back, but you'll see the components that's in the box. 4 new heroes with their decks and all their tokens. These heroes have, I think 3 of the 4 of these heroes use tokens, special tokens for their decks. There's no miniatures or cards in here, but they have the tokens. So we got 2 little token sheets here. And I did test these. They do punch out very easily, so that's nice. And then there's a little rule sheet explaining. There's a little story, and then tells you the contents, what to expect in that box. So it'll be a nice little package. 4 hero decks is a pretty sweet addition to the game. This was added during the Kickstarter from backer demand wanting more heroes. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. They're fun to design, and they all play pretty cool. So, yeah, those lists are helpful. We definitely want to give people an easier way to make sure they have everything they're supposed to have in the box. Back Hour of Need and pre-order Altar Quest. I take it everything is going well. So things are going well. There was a slight delay with the factory being out because of the coronavirus issue going on now globally. But the factory is coming back. They, I believe they're mostly back to work. I'm not sure if they're shorthanded or not, but things are moving along, and we should be expecting more samples soon. They sent us quite a bit here to look over, so this will keep me busy for this week probably. But I might be getting cards later this week as well, which I was hoping to have cards to show you guys today because I was really excited about that. But oh well, we will have another live stream for later. So the other things that we got were boards. I have the neoprene mat for both boards. I have the main boards, and then I also have a punch board for the base game, and encounter tiles from the Ruins of Arkenspire expansion. Love Blackstone Fortress. That game. So Blackstone Fortress was cool. Not exactly what I want out of it, because the one thing I don't like about those are the encounter cards. But I do love. I love GW, so I get like almost anything Warhammer related. But yeah, Blackstone Fortress is a very cool concept. I will show here the game board. So this is the base game board. Folds up to fit in the box, obviously, and I will unfold it for you so you guys can see it in all its glory. These, I believe, have been, we approved these before, so these, I believe, are in this is a mass production copy, just to make sure everything looks right. Feels, it's got a nice little texture to it. As you can see from the print, it's very crisp, very colorful, vibrant. Everything's very easy to tell what's what on the board. Yeah, it is a big board. I'll give a close-up here just so you guys can see some of the artwork. Close up. We had Henning Ludvigsen was the artist who did the boards for us, and he did a great job. So to give you an example of that, I will also compare that with the neoprene mat some of you might have gotten as an add-on. So here is an example of the neoprene mat. Which again, colors look good. Very close to the cardboard. I'm actually very excited to play on this. While I like both boards, I do love my neoprene mats, and the feeling of the miniatures sitting on this nice soft material is very pleasant. So there is that one. The shadow spawn space is easy to see. I believe they are. I will give you an example. The neoprene mat is obviously slightly darker than the board. That's just from their material. But I'll give you an example of one of the shadow spaces just so you can see where they are. I'm gonna have to wait a second while my lag catches up to make sure it's on the right spot. But yeah, you can see. Make sure I'm pointing to the right thing here. Yeah. Sorry, my camera's delayed, but that's one of the shadow spaces. See the board and the mat side by side. Yeah, let me see if I can do that. I apologize for my camera angle. I would like to have something over top so people can see on the table. But I'm using a tripod right now, so here is the board, and here is the mat. Oh, sorry. So yeah, you can see while the mat is slightly darker, it is very close. Now this is the game, the board you will find in the base game. It is used for every quest deck in the game. You just use the same board. However, in the Kickstarter stretch goals, we unlocked a new board, a second board, and that one is an alternate board. It can be used with any quest deck as well, because it is the same number of rooms, different layout, and also this one is more cohesive theme-wise. It looks like it's all one place. The base game, we wanted the board to look a little colorful, so it could be kind of a diverse setting with all kinds of rooms in it. This one is more cohesive. So if anyone wants a thematic board where they're playing in a single place that all looks the same, that's what this one is for. This is like a very classic dungeon crypt style board. So that way you have the best of both worlds. You have a colorful one with all kinds of different crazy rooms, and this one is the stretch goal board you can use if you want a more cohesive looking board that looks like all one location with the same style of rooms. Maybe time desk. So do you guys think the camera is bad? Because I'm using an iPhone 11. I found this camera to be top notch. So if it's not crisp, I'm not sure if it's my internet setting or not. But from what I've experienced with this camera, it is better than most of the HD cameras I've used. I think we have a GoPro, and this seemed to be work a lot nicer than the GoPro. So yeah, it might be the stream quality. Make sure I'm catching up on any comments here. Yep, boards. Okay, cool. Everything looks good to you guys? Okay. Yeah, I think that the stream will degrade in quality if there's an internet connection issue or not, but this is the neoprene matte for the second board. Again, it looks very similar to the other board. This one looks a little darker than the other one, obviously, because not as colorful. This one is more dark and dingy crypt. This is our idea was to make this one look like the ruins of Arkenspire, so that if you wanted to play that story in this setting that looked like the traditional Arkenspire crypt setting, that's what the second board was for. So again, totally optional. You can use either board. Mix it up if you want. Play one quest one, the other. Play the other board with another one. But the cool thing is they work with any quest, so you don't need to worry about playing a specific board with a specific quest. So. All right, so now we are on to the tokens in the base game. So the base game will have 4 sheets of punch board, and we included probably more tokens than you would ever need because we had some extra space on one of the sheets. So I decided to fill it up with, more damage tokens and progress tokens, things that you can't really plan for how many you'll need all the time in a game like this. So you should have plenty of tokens, maybe too many of some kinds, but try to keep it reasonable. So 4 sheets of punch board, not too bad for a game this size. So and we have the trap tokens, we have action tokens, and rival and ally tokens. Most of those are rivals, but there's a few allies, probably half and half there. We have armor tokens, search tokens, and then the classic stair tile. That's the start of every quest. And we have, this is the extra one, I always say that for last. Here we have tons of damage and progress. Blood and progress. And those are the same back. We have included quite a bit of 5 value tokens. Here we have supply tokens, threat tokens, quest tokens, and focus tokens. Same in the back there. And then this is the extra punch board. We needed a few more of the, I believe we needed more quest tokens and supply tokens, but anyway, we just got more of everything here. We got damage, progress, threat, quest, search, armor, supply. This is your extra punch board where you should have plenty of all kinds of tokens in this game. And luckily, the base game was the only, the Ruins of Arkenspire expansion, the way we designed it, we didn't actually need to include any new token types in Ruins of Arkenspire. So Ruins of Arkenspire is going to be mostly cards and miniatures and everything, but we also have a new game mode in Runes of Archspire called Encounters. Now, these are new. This is the kind of the big tease today. So we showed off in the Kickstarter an early version of the camp ambush tile. And here's an example right here. Make sure it's lined up right. Sorry, my camera's feeds a little lag. So this is the camp ambush. And on the back side we have the in trouble encounter. And again, these boards have an associated deck with them. So it's kind of like Street Masters. You can kind of compare it to that, where you have quests are played on the board in the base game, and if you play an encounter, they play on these tiles, and so you can kind of think of these like side quests or whatever. If you're playing a campaign, you can do an encounter if you want in place of a big quest. Typically, they play a little quicker, not like drastically faster, but they do play in a short amount of time. This is called Grave Disturbances. This is a graveyard where there's obviously some dark magic going on, bringing people back from the dead. And then the backside is the special one called the Ark and Hold. So this is a very specific encounter to the Ruins of Arkenspire expansion. We try to keep the other ones a little more, not generic, but universal, where you can use them in any kind of story. But this one right here is very specific to the Ruins of Arkenspire story. Yeah, the tiles came out really nice. There's 4 encounters in the box, so you have 2 tiles that are double-sided. Very similar to the Street Master style. It's the same factory as the Street Masters, so if you are familiar with Street Masters, you know what to expect out of those. So there's that, and we have some dice here. So a lot of you guys have seen these dice from the Kickstarter. They were mass produced when the demo kits, so we basically know what they look like. But these came out, the etchings on these came out great. I don't know if I'm not sure you can see these very well that close, but they are very crisp dice. I was very impressed when I saw these, and they roll great. So you get 5 of those. They sent me 8, but you get 5 of those in the base game. And if you bought extras in the Kickstarter, I would recommend it. I definitely can never have enough dice. These are the altar dice from the base game. These have a nice little stone texture. You should be able to see in this video, with white etching for all the runes. You get 5 of those, and in the stretch goal box, one of the stretch goals we unlocked was something that lots of backers wanted. They wanted colored dice for the altar dice, but a lot of backers like me for example, I like these better. I think these are very nice looking, and I prefer these. But these do look cool. These are the stretch goal dice. These are just a free gift. You can swap out your black and white ones if you want these. They have the same stone texture, but they have colored rune symbols on them. So, nice little premium thing for people back to Kickstarter. They look cool. They did a great job. There's all the inking and the icons, perfect. I don't see any spots missing paint. They're pretty much flawless. So hopefully they all look like this, because these are great. And that is the extent of my proofs that I got yesterday. Like I said, I'm hoping to get more stuff this week, but if I don't, they'll be soon. I'm supposed to get all the cards, and I probably will just do a live stream with the cards and the boxes that we got at Gamma. Hopefully I can just get those shipped to me, so I can show you guys the boxes. But I'm more than happy to answer any questions you guys might have. If you want to, if there were any miniatures that you wanted to see that you didn't see pictures of, I can show you. I have all the miniatures off here to the side. So if there's anything that you wanted to see that you haven't seen yet, I'm more than happy to show it off. Brady, I'm not going to show you the cards. I would love to show you cards. So All right, let me catch up on things here. Cards, yeah, cards. Got five of those dice packs. Yeah, you'll use them. I mean, when any game with exploding dice, you never know how many you're gonna need. And it's very nice for every player to have their own set of dice. So you don't have to pass them around the table. I personally like that, but obviously we don't want to make people buy dice if they don't want to. So it's totally optional. Any specific miniatures you want to see? I can just grab a couple that look cool, but I have a lot. So if there's anything that you haven't seen yet or want to see, feel free to let me know. I will show them off. I do have Dwarf. Make sure I'm not going to show you anything that's a secret, because there are some things that might be hidden in the Ruins of Arkinspire box, so don't want to show those off. The Werewolf mini, that's the first. Oh wait, Dwarfs. So here is, I will give you the Dwarf first. This is Karen from the first 4 box. She is a Dwarf tracker ranger. Does that look good? I'm not sure about the lighting. It looks dark. But I will show you her compared to a human. This is Gavin from the first 4. So he's a little bigger. He's a typical kind of paladin style guy. His sculpt came out really awesome. And I will show you the werewolf. Let me find that werewolf guy. There's a couple werewolves, so he is probably, here's a werewolf. Now this right here, I believe, is the werewolf from the Call of the Narn expansion that we had Isaac help out with. I have to go grab the Lace and Pines one. I believe that's up on the shelf over there, because I was looking in for something else. So the hero Lacen, he's an elf. Let me see if I have his. Yeah, here's his elf form. Sorry, let me turn my volume down here. Okay, there's Lacen, and there is him turned into a werewolf. So he is you can see his quiver on his back. That's kind of how you can tell him. He's got the same medallion on. I apologize if these are dark. I might have to turn off this light back here behind me maybe that's what's causing it, but they look really cool. Frog looking enemies. I do have some frogs. So we got this guy and this guy. These guys were from the demo kit, so a lot of you guys have seen these. There's the Bogmancer and the Muckslinger. A couple of the Frocks. I think the Bogmancer came out really awesome. Actually, yeah, there was a question about miniature size. These are definitely bigger miniatures. I will show you an example of how much bigger. Here's I got some Street Master stuff here. Let's see, who is the lucky miniature from Street Masters to show off? Look, I have Mac from the Twin Tiger expansion. So this is Mac. He's a normal, human-sized guy from Street Masters. This is Gavin from the first 4. So he's bigger, chunkier, not like extreme. Like you could still use these guys in the same game if you wanted, but he is definitely bigger. Here's Cedrin from the base game. He's kind of like the standard human size. He's like probably a couple millimeters taller, but that results in way better detail. So the colored miniatures, I'm going to hopefully have samples to show off soon, but we decided to go with a light blue, like a very light blue for the heroes. because that way it keeps the detail, but it also makes them stand out. And we have I believe it's a light gray for the enemies and a dark gray for the features. So everything is a different color, but it's not like crazy colors that will kind of hide the detail. We had to find a compromise because people didn't want like bright blue and green and orange or red, which some people liked, but you have to kind of compensate for people who don't want to paint, or people do want to paint. So we decided to kind of keep it a little neutral, where there are different colors, but they're not crazy colors. We haven't received those yet, but hopefully I'll be getting those soon. Let's see if there are any more suggestions for miniatures they want to see. Yeah, I can show off the miniatures on the encounter board. So there's a miniature, and I'll put a feature next to it so you can kind of see the scale here. It's one of the rival miniatures. It's a werewolf. One of my favorite features, the cage. And the cool thing is about the cage, let's see if this will work. They sent these glued over, but the cage will be separate. The bottom will be separate, so you can kind of pop it off. You can put the mechanics of the cage are you can actually do a test to try to lock up a minion, and you can put them in the cage and lock them up, and later they might try to break out, but it's kind of cool. You can kind of open this up, take one of these annoying little crow guys, put him in the cage. You ain't going anywhere, dude. There you go. And I'll give you a little size example. This is one of the Bray. This is the big guy. And then compare that with the little Bray, the cute one. She's tiny. And let's see if there's any other cool features you haven't seen maybe. There's also traps. This is one of the traps. This is the for the thralls. Oh yeah, the traps are over there. There's a Gert. She's the Raglander villain. She's cool. Yeah, the actual altar. Here is the altar from the base game. Now there are different altars from the stretch goals. That's just the basic altar. It's kind of like crumbly. I do have something. This right here. This is the altar of disease. So you can kind of see the difference. It's a very cool looking piece when you put it in the middle of the board. I will grab a couple other altars just to show you, because there's quite a bit of miniatures. I only have some of them on this board. There's a bunch of them over here. The door, there's that. This one, the base is kind of warped because this is not a final sample, but this is an example of the burning altar, I believe it is. The blazing. I'll have to look at the Kickstarter. I forget what this one's called, but this was the one from the Bray stretch goal bunch. There's the door. You can get a bunch of those in the base game. Doors are awesome. They sent them initially and they were way too small, but I had them bump it up so they were actually, the bigger figures would fit through them. This is one of the Poxoid, the mutagiant. Here's another one of the traps. This is the fire spray from the Bray threat deck. Can't wait to paint that one up. And then everybody's favorite Horseman got Van Geyser. He actually came out really bad, really badass looking. I know some people didn't like the idea of a horse man, but he looks pretty awesome. Yes, the doors are permanently open. We were just discussing the idea of having them hinged. I didn't like the fiddliness of it. I also kind of I just didn't like the open door thing, and that's also up the cost for them. I want to keep them cheap. Wanted to keep it affordable, but look cool. So that's kind of what what we came up with. So I like the idea of actually having a door, not just an archway. So that's why the door's on there. I thought that looked cool. It marked that that door is open. I didn't care too much about actually putting the figures through it. I was just more interested in the fact that they could open the door. When you open the door on the board, you can mark that it's open. That's kind of what I wanted out of it. So, yeah, that's Mr. Ed with dual wielding swords. Yeah, the doors are very sturdy. Like, these are rock solid, and they paint up really nice. I'm not sure if you guys have seen the ones I painted up for the demo kit, but they paint up great. Speaking of rock solid, the bookshelf got an upgrade to be thicker, so it's very sturdy now. I'm very happy with that. Same with the weapon rack. I'm not sure if you guys saw the weapon rack in the demo kit, but it didn't have a base on it. It was just kind of freestanding, and I didn't like that at all. But now it's really nice and sturdy. Scorched altar, yes, Scotty. Thanks for reminding me. We keep naming so many different things, I keep forgetting what they are. I think that is. There's a lot of. I mean, this is only like half of the miniatures, and they're not even. They're just the individual sculpts. This is half of the sculpts. The other half are over there. I have some here. You're getting a lot of miniatures in this game, and they look really cool. So speaking of miniatures, we have an exciting announcement coming up about what we're doing next. We've kind of put it off for a while because of what's been going on with the Aftershock fulfillment for the Kickstarter. But we have a cool announcement coming on about miniatures, so we can't wait to share that with you. But I'm going to talk to Scotty and the guys, everybody on the team, and find out the best time to announce that. But we got some cool stuff in today to show you guys when we announce that, so hopefully very soon, because I can't wait to talk about that. Yeah, I think Altar Quest, I think Scotty might be able to tell me, but there were the miniatures, the total number of miniatures we unlocked in the Kickstarter, I think was over 200. I think it was 220 or something. I'm not sure. Scotty can give me a count if you have the Kickstarter page handy. So the delivery timeline for Altar Quest, obviously there was a bit of a delay with the coronavirus factory shutdown, but things are going well. I'm not sure we want to commit ourselves to an exact date yet, but we're aiming for the estimated delivery date. We told the factory we definitely wanted to have it in before Gen Con, so that's what we're working towards. So we will hopefully have a more accurate estimate once the mass production starts. We want to make sure we approve all these proofs. We're still waiting on cards, obviously, but we got to review all those cards. There's tons of cards in this game. We want to make sure they're all perfect, and then give them the okay to print. Start printing everything. They have started mass printing some things, like the board, things that we could prove previously. I think the boxes and stuff like that might be good to go, but we want to make sure we approve everything before we give them the green light. So that's kind of where we are right now. Which one is your favorite altar character and feature mini so far? I think my favorite feature, that's tough because there's lots of cool ones. I think mechanically my favorite one is the cage right now. My favorite altar is the Altar of Greed because it's kind of like a push your luck gamble style altar, which is cool. And I think my favorite character miniature, that's tough. I mean, I just want to say Cedrin because that's kind of like my ideal D&D character that I told them to make. So Cedrin's probably my favorite. Oh, this guy's even better than Cedrin. This is the Fanatic. He's a rival from the base game, but he's a stretch goal miniature. And I don't know why, but I always love like religious zealot guys in games. But he turned out awesome. I want to use him. Actually, Brady, I think I might use him for my Rangers Shadow Deep campaign. This might be my Ranger. So I totally forgot about this guy. He's awesome. He's my favorite by far. I'm gonna make him a hero someday in Altar Quest. I've said it here. It's gonna happen. As far as reopening the pledge manager, I don't think we can do that at this point because it's so late. But the goal is to just have the remainder of our inventory up on our say on the website when the fulfillment completes, which should be a fast process because as we've announced already, we are using Quartermaster. We've heard great things about them. Meeting with them, we're so excited about working with them. So we'll see how that goes, but I am very optimistic that the fulfillment for Alter Quest will be very smooth. So, Scotty says 211 miniatures in the quest tier near the end of the campaign, but probably more than that at the time of closing. Yep. Could you include a couple extra focus tokens in case we lose some? Typically, we talked about that, but I don't really. I mean, we can't really, design our punch boards around possibly losing things when we can give you tokens that we can't be sure about because right now there's a fixed amount of focus tokens you can gain, so that's a good way to count it. As far as damage and stuff like that, I think having extra of those is more important because if you lose some, you probably just contact the fulfillment company and say, hey, I need to get replacements for these, but that is something we will discuss, not something I really plan for when we're laying out components for games. But yeah, that's something I'll think about from going forward for sure. Yeah, I mean, again, maybe we'll do like some premium focus tokens in the future where, because since you only have a fixed amount, we won't have to release so many of them. But yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Any other questions I missed? Yeah, hope someone said they hope the boards lay flatter than the Aftershock boards. That's always tricky because it can be affected by so many different things, especially humidity, things like that. So these right here seem to be laying flat, but that's always something we look for, is making sure that the boards are a very solid material and they don't warp, because warped boards are terrible. I hate them. So it sounds you plan on support and keep making additional content for Ultra Quest in the future. That's always dependent upon how well it does. Obviously, a game needs to be popular to warrant expansions, because if people aren't buying the base game, then they're even less will buy expansions for it. So as a publisher, we have to make sure that the games are well received and liked. So we will know that we have plenty of ideas for Ultra Quest, but we will see how it's received when it gets out there. People like it. Just because we enjoy playing it during playtesting doesn't really, dictate whether people that get the game like it as much as we do. So we'll see. Hopefully you do. Hopefully everybody enjoys the purchase and likes it and tells their friends and they want more, and then we'll do another Kickstarter for more stuff. Kind of like we did for Aftershock. That's kind of the hope. So yeah, it really just depends on how well it does. But yeah, we have plenty of ideas. Yes, I will do another live stream when I get the cards, because I want to show them off. I'm sure some of you would like to see that as well. But also, there might be more questions with cards, and you might want to see specific cards. It shows up, we can show off the artwork and all that stuff. So there's lots. That's the thing about this game. The majority of it is the cards. So there's just so many cards in the game, and I was hoping to have those to show off today, but we still have a lot to show off, and then we can just do another live stream either later this week or next week. And go over the cards. So, how did Brook City do? Brook City, the Kickstarter did not do as well as we'd hoped. People do seem to like the game. I'm not sure if they like the game as much as they like the theme. There are definitely things we would like to do differently with the game to kind of inject more theme into it, because it relies heavily on the MDS, and I'm not sure if there's lots of things Brady and I want to do in game design that is not MDS. So we've definitely heard the demand from our fans that we want to have more non-MDS games, because people seem to think that they're the same game. They're not. I think when Our Meat gets out there, people might see just how different MDS can be. I think Our Meat is kind of like the pinnacle of MDS so far. It's our best MDS game. It's unfortunate that it didn't do as well as we hoped, because we had lots of stuff planned for it. But I think when it gets out there, people might see what it is for themselves, and maybe we'll do another Kickstarter for it in the future. But we have plenty of ideas going forward for new games, even in existing IPs that are not MDS. So we definitely want to do more in the Brook City setting. We're not sure if it's going to be just the same game, but we definitely have other games planned in the Brook City setting. So if the Brook City game, if the demand is there, we'll definitely do something with it. But it didn't do as well as we'd hoped. So, but people definitely like it. I enjoy it. So, would love to see a playthrough with a new quest. Yeah, the plan is to do a playthrough when we get the actual final samples of everything. I would have liked to get a physical copy of the game, like a proof print of the game before mass production to do a playthrough with that. Because there are so many playthroughs out there right now with the demo kit stuff, so people know how the game works. But we'd like to show off the actual game in our next playthrough. And also hopefully be closer to delivery so people can kind of not have to wait as long after they see the playthrough. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, definitely I will show the cards off when I get them. Yeah, so what will be in the retail box for, if you mean for Alter Quest, the base game, the contents in the base game listed on the Kickstarter, that's the retail version of the game. All the stretch goal stuff is the Kickstarter exclusive. Like, there are lots of Kickstarter exclusives in the stretch goal box, but that stretch goal box will not go to retail in that form. Some of the contents might be going to retail in different expansions in the future. We don't know. Again, that just depends on how well the game does and what the demand is for it. So, I can't find Brook City. So I think we're getting a small shipment of Brook City available in our web store soon. I'm not sure yet. Watch the website for news on that, but I think we might be getting a limited inventory to sell ourselves on the web store. So you should be able to find it soon in the near future. But I'll leave that to official announcements on the website just so I don't get any information wrong. Because I don't handle all the logistics. I try to stick my nose in there sometimes, especially with things that people ask me. I want to give customers accurate answers, but I'm not always involved in the logistics side of things. I kind of try to focus on the product development. What's the best thing about Alter Quest? For me, my favorite thing about it is just being able to play a dungeon crawl, get to the table quickly. Like, just lay the board out, pick your decks, and go. There's no like special rules to study up on a scenario book, or I don't necessarily always want to play a campaign. I want to just set up a game to play, and that's where I think Alter Quest shines. Is just getting a dungeon crawl to the table quickly. That was the goal, and I think we accomplished that with this game. Also, the features. The features are pretty much what make the game look cool. There's lots of dungeon crawls out there, but there's not a lot of dungeon crawls that rely on furniture that you can actually interact with and do things with. That's kind of what I wanted to do with the game. That was the initial vision, and that's probably one of my favorite things about it. Is just the way the board looks when you're in the middle of the game. It looks awesome. So, can't wait to see another playthrough video. Yes, we will do another playthrough with closer to final components, so people can see the actual game in progress. Arrival into the stream. Did you show the reverse side of the main board? There is no reverse side of the main board. It is a single-sided board, but we did. If you mean the Kickstarter stretch goal board, that is a separate board, and I can show that again real quick before we wrap up, just so you can see it. You don't have to watch the whole video again to find it. This is the board that was unlocked in the stretch goals, and again, this is a different art style because it's a cohesive board where all the rooms look similar. It looks like it's all the same location. The main board is a little more diverse with all kinds of different colors and stuff like that. So this one definitely looks really dark and creepy and cool. So you can kind of take your pick of whenever you're playing a quest, pick whatever board you like. And we might do, as long as we keep doing Alter Quest stuff, we can easily do more boards in the future to just increase your variability of how the game looks on your table. So. How much of this game came from Hero Quest? That was kind of the inspiration. That was the game that got me into board games back in the day. As far as the design goes, it's very different. The design was not inspired by HeroQuest. Just the concept of dungeon crawl with miniatures and cool furniture and scenery. That's kind of where the idea came from. Also on a fixed board. I've always wanted to do a dungeon crawl on a fixed board because you can do so much with it. And modular tiles, for me, just increase setup and game length because I hate stopping a game looking for a tile. Like I just hate it. So I'm curious to see if people feel the same way about me when they play a dungeon crawl on a fixed board like this, and see how they like it. So, how are you measuring demand without having the Kickstarter campaign? I'm not sure what you mean for demand. If you mean by demand for Brook City or demand for Alter Quest, for Brook City, demand is really just people asking to buy it. We do have some people asking to buy it, but not like massive numbers. But we would definitely entertain the idea of doing a Kickstarter for something Brook City related in the future, because we're not gonna abandon that setting. We love that whole action cop setting, so we will definitely be doing more stuff in that setting. I can guarantee that. So, have you begun to replace all the furniture in your room with Alter Quest features? Not yet. I need to shrink my house down a little bit first, but that's a big job. Room positions are the same. If you mean on the board, the shapes of the rooms are the same, but the quest is pretty much plays out however you want. You can put the stairs tile wherever you want on the board, and you can start wherever you want, and you can explore however you want. So what is in which room is always going to be different depending on how you play the quest. So that's I would say watch a playthrough just so you can kind of get a feel for that. There are playthrough videos on the Kickstarter, but for example, you're not always going to find the same room on the same spot on the board. You could possibly, but you never know. Any reason why it wasn't? So the reason why the board's not printed on the back is multiple reasons. One of the main reasons is I don't like double-sided folding boards because the art gets messed up on one of the sides on the table. That's just the way that I've had so many times on these folding boards where the art just gets scuffed up and peels and stuff like that. I'd rather just have a fixed back. But also, we didn't want to put the stretch goal bot board in the base game because it's a Kickstarter exclusive. It was for people who backed the Kickstarter, so we wanted to keep those separate anyway. But I don't typically like folding boards that are double-sided. I'm not saying we'll never do that, but we just didn't want to do it in this game, mainly because we wanted to promote the idea that you're using the same board every time. Like, that's kind of the appeal of the game. That's one of the selling points to me. It's like you get to know this board. It's kind of like iconic. I mean, when I see a HeroQuest board, it brings back memories, and I kind of want this game to do that too. Like, people who like Alter Quest, they'll see that Alter Quest board, and that's kind of the game to them. So it might seem weird to people who are as gamers, we're used to all these map tiles and, double-sided, changing things up every time, but it's just a different outlook how we want to do this game. We'll see how it does. Yeah, we do. I'm still waiting on a lot of Brook City inventory to like do QA and stuff to send out replacement parts. And one thing I'm lacking is dice, so I'm hoping to get more dice soon. Yeah, Street Master's dice are definitely handy. That's one of the good things about our MDS game so far is the dice distributions are the same. So you can use Street Master's dice in Brook City if you want. You can use Brook City dice in Street Masters. It's really just different looking icons, but they mean this. The distributions are the same. Now with two boards, can we have two different boards going at the same time? That all depends. You probably need, if you want to have two-player games going, you'd have enough content for that or enough material. But you couldn't do two 4-player games unless you had two copies of the game. You'd also need a very big table. One of the drawbacks of Alter Quest, in my opinion, is the table space. It's pretty demanding in table space. It takes up your whole table. Now, it's not like, I think, for example, like Shadows of Brimstone is a good example of a dungeon crawl that takes up a lot of table space. That takes up way more table space than this does. I actually had to sell the game because I couldn't support it with my table anymore. It was just really, really huge. So this one at least is contained. It takes up a lot of table space, but it doesn't grow over the course of the game. It stays the same, which is nice. All right, I think I'm caught up. So unless anybody had anything else they wanted to ask about Alter Quest or anything Blacklist related, let me know. If not, you can catch the next live stream, which I know we've been on hold for a bit because we've been dealing with a lot of stuff with the holidays and the new year and everything like that. But we'll now that we got things moving along, we'll definitely do more live streams, do playthrough videos if you guys want to see that. But you'll also hear a lot of us soon when we announce our next project, which is going to be something a little different. So hopefully it excites some of you. But yeah, I think I will probably do a live stream very soon to just kind of talk about it. So yeah, if I didn't answer your question today, come back next time, bring it. Other than that, thanks for joining me. Hope you guys are excited about Alter Quest. I am very excited. I apologize for not having those cards to show, but I will definitely have them next time and show you guys everything I have. So thanks for joining me, guys. Have a good rest of your week.